Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Carl Experience. This is going to be an update episode, and because it's been requested, I will be expounding. I will be expounding and expanding upon a certain point. Now, in case you didn't know, this is a Chauvin trial update. So here's the better part of the news. The defense came to a rest today. And before the defense came to a rest and the jury gets a 3-day vacation, there was some issue with experts. I don't know what the issue was, but they talked about it at length and ad nauseum on court TV. Next week we'll be closing arguments and jury deliberation, and the judge has already told them pack for a long time and hope it's not. I totally get that. You may have one ass who just won't give in, but then again, one of the weird key pieces of testimony which I heard about today on reflection was they had George Floyd on the ground in prone position, facing the car apparently, and there was in one of the pictures that the defense expert talked about is the fact that there seemed to be exhaust coming out of the tailpipe, meaning the cops put him face down near the exhaust of the car, and yes, you can asphyxiate easier doing that way. Does it mean that they went out of their way to make sure he was going to die from it? Not at all. So anybody who's, the sad part is that the battery that was in the SUV that got put in storage is dead. And they're probably going to claim it was hybrid or somewhere. Bullshit. But the biggest, and I mean the biggest fucking news of the day was that Derek Chauvin pled the fifth. Slancha. No, I'm not doing that to celebrate him pleading the fifth. I just wanted to open the beer. Okay. Chauvin pleads the fifth and was required to answer questions like was he intimidated or threatened or promised anything. If he was, he's sure as hell not going to tell the judge. I know, because I've been asked that by a judge the same exact way. And if you answer anything but no, nothing's been promised, that whole spiel. If you answer anything but that, they won't allow you to do certain things in court when you're being asked those things. Now, Chauvin pleading the fifth. What exactly does that mean? Well, that means that by certain interrogation or cross-examination, he could potentially incriminate himself without trying to. I know some of you are like, well, that's what happens when you're guilty. Not all the time. You can accidentally incriminate yourself by way of answering a seemingly simple question. And the prosecution, or the state in this case, is badgering everybody who's on Chauvin's side. Indeed, the very experts that the state has brought into this have been using the experts as an executionary board. Well, did this? They're claiming it did. The part that I find interesting, I got a message. I turned the phone on silent so I couldn't hear anything but me doing this podcast. What I find interesting is that all these people, there's an entire community going on the theory that Derek Chauvin is guilty, whether or not he is or not. They're presuming him guilty until proven innocent. Excuse me. He's being summarily judged as being guilty before anything's done. The jury's going to decide that. If the jury decides that, if it's a hung jury because One or two people noticed, like I did, that the defense's expert plotted out certain points that aren't recorded by any one of the experts for the prosecution. For me, what this says is we just wanted to hang him to dry. We literally brought all the experts we could who would side with us in a semi-impartial way, but still more towards us, and they look at the footage and just come to a conclusion readily. Whereas the defense, he seemed more reality-based. Like he wasn't there, so we couldn't judge what the carbon monoxide intake for Floyd was. Just like the defense's expert pointed out that if you actually watch the video, not just he was a black man. You watch the video, he was resisting arrest, and this expert pointed that out several times that George Floyd was trying to evade arrest. He was trying to keep them from arresting him. That was his goal, not to go to jail. And then they had the white pellet thing where I don't know what the prosecution tried saying that white stuff in his mouth was. Just in looking at it from, since I don't have a horse in this race, I thought it was one of two things: gum or some sort of drug in his mouth. I doubt it was gum, but there's still the possibility. You have to leave that in there. Let the jury decide that. Me personally, I'd assume, because of the toxicology report, and I'd have to go back and look at the stomach go look at the autopsy report of the contents of his stomach, because if it was gum, it would be in his system. Unless he somehow spit it out in the gist of all his rough and tumbling bullshit, but that's I think it's funny that all these people are making a huge deal out of him dying, and one expert saying, "Yeah, here's the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Oh, and by the way, here is H." And the prosecution is like, "We didn't have that." And then I thought there was something tainted in this. The prosecution did something I didn't think was legal. We're watching the trial, and apparently the prosecution entered new evidence on the last day of the trial. I mean, they've already rested their case, and now they bring forth new evidence? Unless I'm mistaken, you're not allowed to do that. That's called ambushing, and I don't think it's legal. I think that they're making this case a smattering of half-baked grievances, and whatnot. It's like it's a hodgepodge of bullshit they're putting together. Well, this lady shouldn't have had the phone, let alone taken the picture. Then why did she have her phone on her? Cell phones here aren't allowed in court. You have to leave your cell phone, unless you're a lawyer, you have to leave your phone in your car. They do not allow cell phones, at least not in the actual courts. If you're like at the first floor, you have to put your phone on silent. Otherwise, they will confiscate it or kick you out. One of the two. So, brand new hat, trying to break it in. It's a pain in the ass. But Chauvin, I think he's smart for pleading the fifth, because he doesn't want to answer a question unintentionally incriminating himself upon answering. And yeah, with the way this prosecution is, they would pounce all over the tiniest mistake. Much like how the defense's expert witness, he pointed out a few things that not even the prosecution had on record, and then they're like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? I'm sitting there thinking to my head, your own fucking experts didn't even keep track of that. How the fuck? Why the fuck would he? He was asked to review this material. You had 7 experts. None of them had that fucking information. And now everybody's going to jump on one side or the other. Right now I'm leaning towards Chauvin getting a hung jury, because I don't actually harbor any ill will. I mean, I think he made a mistake, and I don't think he had a particular amount of malice or intention to do that kind of harm. And just like when everybody else throwing out that George Floyd's just saying he was a good man, black people dying, he was resisting arrest. He was on drugs. But we're not even talking about weed. We're talking about meth and fentanyl. How the fuck is that not drugs? It's automatic time. Let alone he was using a counterfeit $20 bill. Yeah, let's not throw that away. But yeah, I think for Chauvin to plead the fifth is a good choice. His lawyer probably didn't. I don't know if his lawyer liked it at all, but I think his lawyer was kind of counting on him not testifying, letting the science and the evidence point somewhere other than Chauvin. Because that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the facts and the science, and much like all this crap about global warming, the evidence does not lead there. And Derek Chauvin needs to give out as little information as possible until a verdict is reached. If he gets a hung jury and doesn't have to worry about anything again, which there'll probably be a civil trial, God forbid Black Lives Matter not win every fucking case they want. Because Chauvin is the beginning. Chauvin is only the beginning. BLMers and the like are claiming that if Chauvin gets off the hook, and if the jury comes back hung, it comes back hung. There's nothing you can do about that. But people on the way very far left are saying that if Chauvin gets off, things are going to burn. Well, things are going to burn no matter what the fuck you do, no matter what the fuck happens. Because then you got the trial of the other 3 officers. And if all of them get off, and Chauvin's the only one who gets, let's say Chauvin gets free and all other 3 get free, then shit's going to burn no matter what. There's going to be rioting because, well, black lives do matter. Okay, I thought all lives mattered. I'm not going to put a black life or a yellow life or any other life above any other life. The lives that matter more to me are the ones that are around me, my family, my friends. I'm not going to call some dude 6 miles away my friend and say his life is more important than theirs. If my family's around, no, my family's more important. My 7-year-old there, she outdoes everybody. Even my wife knows that. My 7-year-old is in mortal peril. You best believe Papa Bear is going to fucking do what it takes to get rid of this situation. But yeah, and Chauvin, by pleading the fifth, he makes sure he doesn't have to misstep and compromise the rather semi-solid defense that his lawyer has put up for him. His lawyer built this brick by brick, and it's pretty fucking stable wall. The prosecution thinks it's flimsy as a paper bag, but that paper bag is filled with cement, if you're going to put it like that. That paper bag is pretty fucking hard. Now, for those who think that Chauvin should burn in hell and all this other crap, Okay, but you also have to remember the preface of our justice system. They are presumed innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. I know I've said it probably twice now, but some people don't seem to get that through their head. And I'm not a pro Chauvin guy. I'm not Chauvin. No, I'm also not a Floyd guy. I'm not a BLMer. I want to stand for the truth and the justice. If justice is blind, then the prosecution has an uphill battle. They have to prove that Chauvin had intent. By him not talking, I think he did an excellent job of that. He made sure that they can't try to roundabout prove that he went about to kill Derek Floyd, or George Floyd, excuse me. I misspoke. I'm human. Okay. Now, what are the consequences of Chauvin pleading the fifth and not talking? He can't incriminate himself. He can't be up for direct examination, let alone cross examination, which could be very problematic in his case. It allows his lawyer, if his lawyer's strategy is to go without Chauvin's defense in his own words, then that helps him reinforce that wall. It also sets the stage for what other potential people like Chauvin, like his fellow police officers who were on the scene, or the white lady who shot the black kid, which I reported on my last one. It sets the stage up. And what an amazing stage it is. I mean, it's utterly fantastic. I think that they're going the right way with this. Like I said, you have to start with some. You have to start with some certain things. Number one, that there was a tragic death. The person who died wasn't an angel at all. Not even. He may have been a good father to a certain extent, but I wouldn't say 20 years of being in and out of prison or in and out of jail, either one, and being on fentanyl and meth while you have a fucking kid, I wouldn't consider that good parenting. And most of your decent parenting classes will tell you that's a piece of shit parent. But yeah, he was a drug addict. You could say he was a career criminal because that's pretty much what he'd done most of his adult life, is break rules, go to jail, and go to prison. Ow, that snuck up from nowhere. Yeah, we're about to get some cold weather, so the weather's changing. Now, the only way this could go bad that I see is Chauvin pleads the fifth, and for some reason the jury just doesn't like him for not taking the stand. But if you're thinking about the facts of the crime, then ultimately okay. Ultimately, if he doesn't take the stand, there's nothing for the jury not to like. He remains an affable guy who seems okay, and you could bring up Chauvin's past as well, all those complaints, being 44, all these complaints, all these citations, blah 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 blah. I get that, I really do. And my only defense on any particular part of that would be, okay, you show me a cop who's got nothing but awards and accolades. Nothing. Not even one complaint. Who's got 20 years on the force. I'm pretty sure the lady officer who shot that young black man, I'm pretty sure she's got at least one complaint on her. I'm sure her record, she's got 26 years of service. I'm pretty sure her record isn't spotless. Um, and yet, Chauvin's fellow officers and her are all going to have their own trials. And I think it's horrible that it's going to happen like that. That, it's one cop, all cops have to pay for one life. I understand that cops aren't supposed to kill people. And like with the lady who shot that young black man, she shot him by accident, she resigned, and then she let herself get arrested. Now, here's an important question for you. With all that, she did the right thing. She was being a responsible adult and a woman. She shot somebody in the line of duty. She resigned. Then she could have, I'm pretty sure she could have resigned and then taken the fuck off out of Dodge and gotten away before they arrested her. She didn't do that. She is standing. She is taking responsibility for what she did. Now, I know that the lawyers and the family members of George Floyd and her and this young man's family are all, well, she took away our prize, son. The lady who killed your son, on accident, mind you, she resigned. She gave up her job. She didn't have to give that up. She let herself be arrested. She turned herself in, as far as I know. She didn't have to do any of that. She could have stayed on the force, ran off, and been just a fugitive. She didn't. And I'm sure she will live with that for the rest of her life. But the families want her to pay. She's going to have to live with that choice every day for the rest of her life. And they want her to pay. What payment is good enough? Fucking killing her won't bring him back. Nothing will bring him back. Matter of fact, he did the actions that led to his own death. Remember, he was trying to resist arrest and evade police. He tried to hop in the car and take the fuck off. He had an active warrant. They have to arrest him. Blah, 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 blah. Why can't people understand that? When the cops last arrested me, it was for something stupid, small, and I don't know if I knew or not. I don't remember. But the cops came to my house. They knocked on the door and asked if I was who I was. Yeah. Well, you need to come down, sir. You're under arrest and all this other crap. And my daughter's there, and I gathered my stuff, got a hold of my wife. My wife gets there as I'm about to leave. The cops let me get stuff done, like take my heart pill and all this other crap. But I get all that crap done, and my wife gets there. She gets all the information, all that junk. And the cops are very affable, but I wasn't fighting it. They're like, the cops from me are like, well, you're not running. Number one, I can't run. Number two, I was taught to deal with shit head on. You're going to arrest me? Arrest me. I'm right here. I'm not running. And it was all for a warrant that was way back, like way the hell back. Apparently they had 6 months left to come get me, and they spent 6.5 years fucking off. But I think it's a good thing he pled the fifth. He can't do any more damage than what's already been done. I think that the defense has done an awesome job building that wall. I think that the defense's expert flattened that fucking prosecution, because they're expecting him to have these numbers and all this crap. It's like, dude, your own experts don't even have those numbers. What the fuck are you complaining about? But yeah, that's the update. I know this is a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I was supposed to expound as to why Chauvin pleads the fifth. Like I said, it should help. If he's not going to testify on his own behalf, then it is liable to help the defense in its excuse me, in its defense of Chauvin. Chauvin opening his mouth could have been problematic, but now that we don't have to worry about that, that's the way that is. Anyway, I'm going to get this done and over with because this is way too long even for me. So have fun, peace out, and be young. I'm going to be watching Hell's Kitchen in like 10 minutes, so have fun, y'all. Peace.